Hey guys, and welcome back. This is our third video of the series of personnel files. To recap, we talked about personnel files, what is expected to be in those personnel files, and how I encourage you guys to set them up. We also talked about what needs to be separate, which was the previous video, talked about the I-9s and how that is supposed to be set up. This is the third video for this series, and last is the criminal history check. In this video today, our goals and what I want you to take away from this video, we'll discuss more rules in Texas Administrative Code 49.304. We're going to talk about Health and Safety Code 250.006, Texas Department of Public Safety, and CCH form, which is the computerized criminal history form. So let's jump right in. So, as I always encourage you guys to always make yourself abreast of all the Texas Administrative Code rules pertaining to the programs that you govern for your past agency or your home health agency. This part of the Texas Administrative Code 49.304 talks about background checks. It basically tells you that you cannot hire, subcontractor, volunteer, an applicant that without running their criminal background, without running them in the misconduct registry, without running them in the nurses aid registry. Okay, so there's three things that you need to run before you actually employ them. Okay, so where and how do you run a criminal background? We Texas Department of Public Safety. You have to contract with this entity so that you're able to run criminal background checks on your potential employees, volunteers, or subcontractors. Okay. Um, Texas Health and Human Services, they have a list of bars of employment, meaning if this certain penal code or conviction comes back on your record, you are not to hire them. Okay, if nothing comes back on their record, it tells you here, um, I'm sorry, if nothing comes back on their record that's on the barment list, and they do have something that's, like I said, not on the barment list, it tells you have to determine if you're going to hire this person with a conviction that is a contraindication to the employment. Okay, so please make yourself familiarized with this, because when I go to different agencies and audit their charts, I see a lot of people that are hired that should not have been hired. They have a conviction that's on the barment list, or they have a conviction that's not on the barment list, but it is a contraindication to employment. For an example, someone that has theft by check, that's a misdemeanor. It's not on the bars of employment from HHSC, but that is a contraindication to employment. Do you really want to put that person in a consumer's home? A consumer is the individual or the patient in a consumer's home um, that can't do anything for themselves. So that's where this comes in. Even though it's not on the bars of employment, their convictions are not on the bars of employment, but their conviction may be a contraindication to employment. And that can be another video for another day. But I just wanted to go over that with you to tell you the importance of hiring and following these rules. Okay, so let's move. Okay, as I stated before, the Health and Human Services, they have their list of bars of employment, and it's called the State of Texas Health and Safety Code, Chapter 250.06, Convictions Barring Employment, and this is the website. Okay, I highly encourage you to always keep your hiring managers, your whoever's doing your onboarding, whoever's in your human resource department, to make themselves familiarized with this health and safety code. Okay, it's also supposed to be a part of your application. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. Um, when you are checking criminal background. So I went over to the Texas Health and Safety Code and pulled little snippets of convictions barring employment, and I just wanted to kind of go over that with you all. A person for whom the facility or the individual employer is entitled to obtain criminal history records information may not be employed in a facility or by an individual convicted of an offense listed in this subsection. So these are all of the convictions, okay? If they have a conviction in the Penal Code Chapter 19, criminal homicide, offense under Chapter 20, um, kidnapping and unlawful restraint, offense under Section 21.02, continuous sexual abuse of young child or children. Okay, so it goes on and on. Aggravated assault, injury by child, and it tells you which penal code it's under. 29.02. If they have a 29.02 on their record, they cannot be hired. They have a 21.08 on their record, they cannot be hired. They have a 22.021 on their record, they cannot be hired. They have a 22.07 terroristic threat, they cannot be hired. So this is just on and on. I just want to make sure that you guys know that you need to make sure that you are following the laws and following the rules when it comes to hiring um, um, providers to care for your patients. Okay. Okay, so further down the page, we just talked about bars, complete bars of employment. Um, Also in Health and Safety Code Chapter 250.006, they have a 5-year window. So at the bottom down here, it tells you that with these penal codes, they cannot be hired unless it's 5 years old with these penal codes. It has to be 5 years old and it has to be from the date of the conviction. So if a person was convicted February, okay, 1st, 2001, you can hire them until 5 years later in February, whatever the date is, whatever that year is, 5 years later. Okay. So you can't say, oh, this has been a long time ago, I'm gonna go ahead and give them a check. It has to be 5 years from the date of conviction, and it is on the criminal background record when you pull it. Okay. They also have other stipulations as well. Um, Here at the bottom. Okay, so please make yourself aware and educate yourselves on these convictions and how to read your criminal background checks and how to make sure that you're going by the date of conviction with the 5-year window. So here, when I said how do you run the criminal background check, or where do you run the criminal background check, you get an account with the Texas Department of Public Safety. This is the website. This is what it looks like. And they have their own rules and regulations as well on how you are to govern yourself using their portal, okay, to run your criminal backgrounds. How to fill out the CCH form. It's very self-explanatory. The signature of the person that is actually, it's optional, that is actually getting a criminal background ran on them, the date, agency's name, print, agency representative, the person who's running the criminal background. That means they have a username and they have a password. They're not using somebody else's. Okay. Signature of the agency representative and the date. Okay. And over here in this section, it says CCH report printed. Did you print it? Yes or no? So if you ran somebody's criminal background, okay, they're not hireable because they have a conviction that bars them from being hired. There's no need for you to print the criminal background. Okay. So that's why it says here CCH form a report printed. If they are not hireable, there's no need for you to print it out. Okay. So you're gonna check no, you're gonna initial, Okay? The purpose of the CCH form, employment. Okay? If they pass the criminal background and you print it out, you're going to check yes and you're going to initial. Okay? The purpose of the CCH form, employment. Is this an employee, volunteer? Fill that in, check one of these, initial, and you want to print out, you want to type or write the date you printed the criminal background. Okay? And you initial. This goes in the binder separate from the personnel file. Okay? Now, when that person no longer works for you, you can go in and take that criminal background printed form and you're going to write destroy date, the date you shredded it, and initial. Okay? It says retain in your files. Because when the auditors come in, they're going to already have a list of the people that you ran because it's their database. Okay. They're going to come in your door with a list of everybody that you've ran. You even have access to go back and see what person you ran and when you ran them, what date you ran them. It's in the database. Okay. So when the auditors come in, they're going to come in with the list. They're going to tell you, I need to see all these people's criminal background. And if you don't have it, they're going to want to see this form. If you've already shredded it, um, they want to see the destroy date you shredded it. Okay, so it is very important that you keep good records and you push this information to your onboarding team, your human resource person, whoever handles the applications. This is very important, and I encourage you guys to educate yourself on this so that you can have seamless records so that when the DPS comes in, they are able to come in, have your audit, and they're gone. Okay. Um, Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed this information of the last 3 videos that I have provided for you guys. Until next time, I want you guys to be survey ready, and I'll see you next time.